The next resolution is a resolution recognizing the BL Termite Youth Football Championship. And Ms. Mitchell is going to read this.
The Town of Batesburg-Leesville. Resolution. Whereas the Batesburg-Leesville Town Council wishes honor the Batesburg-Leesville Termite football team for winning the Lexington County Youth Football League Championship. And whereas Town Council commends rare athlete achievement and gives special honor and commendation to those athlete teams who purchased such excellence that they became examples for the youth of Batesburg-Leesville. And whereas the Termite football team achieved such excellence this season, finishing the 2019 football season with the undefeated record of 8 wins and 0 losses, and winning the Lexington County Youth Football League Championship. And whereas the Termites led the league in offensive performance, defensive domination, and special team precision, cementing this Termite team placed into Lexington County youth football history. And whereas the achievement of the Termite football team, its head coach Joshua Harris and his talented coach staff deserve recognition and have earned a rightful place at the top of their sport. For this impressive 2019 season, an example that have set for future generations of youth athletes in Batesburg-Leesville. This body honors the Termites, their parents, family, and fans, and wishes them the best of luck in all their future endeavors. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Council of Batesburg-Leesville that we hereby commend the Termite football team of its Lexington County Football Championship and congratulate each member of the team. Head coach Joshua Harris, his staff, team parents, and its entire youth football community. Dated this 11th day of November, 2019.
Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Mr. Gambrell, and second by Mr. Simpkins. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? The resolution passes. Congratulations.
Alright. For the paper. Hold on, we got one thing in the shirt on. Well, that's it. Alright. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Try one more.
We're going to move on to item C, which is a third resolution recognizing the BL Mite Youth Football Championship. And Mr. Simpkins will read that resolution for us. Mites. Mites. Y'all stand on up. There you go.
The Town of Batesburg-Leesville's resolution. Whereas the Batesburg-Leesville Town Council wishes to honor the Leesville Mites football team for winning the Lexington County Youth Football League Championship. And whereas Town Council commends rare athletic achievement and gives special honor and commendation to those athletic teams who pursue such excellence that they become examples for the youth of Batesburg-Leesville. And whereas the Mites football team achieved such excellence this season, finishing the 2019 football season with an undefeated record of 8 wins and 0 losses, and winning the Lexington County Youth Football League Championship. And whereas the Mites led the league in offensive performance, defensive domination, and special teams precision, cementing this Mites team's place into Lexington County youth football history. And whereas the achievement of the Mites football team is head coach Chris Millhouse and his talented coaching staff deserves recognition and have earned a rightful place at the top of their sport for their impressive 2019 season and example they have set for future generations of youth athletics in Batesburg-Leesville. This body honors the Mites, their parents, family, and friends, and wishes them the best of luck in all their future endeavors. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Council of Batesburg-Leesville that we hereby commend the Mites football team on its Lexington County Youth Football Championship and congratulate each member of the team, head coach Chris Millhouse, his staff, team parents, and the entire youth football community. Dated this 11th day of November 2019, Lansing D. Shaw, Mayor, Judy D. Edwards, Town Clerk. Congratulations, guys.
Do I have a motion to adopt? I have a motion by Mr. Brown, second by Mr. Simpkins. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Resolution has been adopted. Congratulations, gentlemen.
I can't see some of you guys, so if you can take a knee. Some of you guys can take a knee. All right, very good. On 3. 1, 2. Look at the camera. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You're a good man, Charlie.
Right a bit.
Temperature should go down to 15 degrees today. It was getting
I turned AC on. I kicked it down earlier.
I almost texted you, told me to say the red kick there.
I did like some more thing.
Just a second here.
I almost got hit one day.
All right, moving on to item 6, the mayor's report. Our next regular council meeting will be on December the 9th, 2019. Item 6B, council committee reports. Number 1, Central Midlands Council of Government, Councilmember Gambrell. Do you have anything to report from the COG?
Yes, sir. On October 24th, the COG met. We went over the Central Midlands Economic Development Strategy. And as you can see, they covered everything from bus routes to money coming in, money going out, the workforce development, regional infrastructure, economic development. It makes for a nice midnight reading if you want to read. Long-term care Osmond program. The Osmond program does not have regulatory authority over and does not have authority in homes, unlicensed facilities, and independent living. And they are still looking for people to help with them, to be trained. Census Complete Count Committee timeline, we've got a timeline starting in December and going all the way through August and December of next year. And as usual, they are pushing for volunteer help in these matters. Can't say enough for that. South Carolina Commission for Minority Affairs, Afro-American Answers Affairs fact sheet. It tells you what's going on in the state of South Carolina pertaining to minorities. It's very good reading, very good information. Executive Director's report. They're still pushing this census. Current projects for regional and local projects of the year: bicycle and pedestrian master plan for Chapin, Swansea, and Batesburg-Leesville. Blackwood traffic improvement. South Carolina Midlands Fair, career fair, is going to be on November 14th. That's coming right up. Central Midlands Area Agency on Aging. The goal is to reduce the wait time of families in need of Medicare for waiver services such as community, long-term, and nursing homes. And that's their report, sir. They will have no meeting in November.
Thank you. Next, item number 2, Environmental Planning Advisory Committee, Councilmember Prowse.
All right, for the first time in about 6 months, EPAC had a meeting in September. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend because I was at the Municipal Association training on that same day. However, I was informed it was an informational only meeting. No action was taken. So if I can gather additional information, I will present that at the next meeting.
All right, thank you, sir. And Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission, they did meet on October the 9th. The commission continue, or the Joint Municipal's growth continues at about 3.5%. And they went through more of their refinancing of the bonds, which will continue saving the Joint Municipal a lot of money. And that was the bulk of that discussion. The next meeting is going to be Wednesday. Excuse me, Wednesday of this week. Moving on to item C, which is the Batesburg-Leesville Chamber of Commerce update. Mr. Mike Taylor, President of the Chamber.
Thank you, Mayor and members of Town Council. Yesterday I had the pleasure of conducting a ribbon cutting in the Leesville district. It was a beautiful day for a beautiful facility that's a great asset to the community, Batesburg-Leesville Animal Hospital. I've conducted right many of my time as president of the chamber, and I'm most appreciative of it, but the opportunity when you see a business in our community expand and everything, that is very gratifying, so that was a great experience. Our annual awards banquet will be next Thursday, the 21st at Ken Farm. Again, Joe Mergel, Lexington County Administrator, will be our speaker. Gives us an opportunity to recognize our outgoing chair, to recognize the incoming new directors, and have the Small Town Business of the Year Award. The Batesburg-Leesville Ministerial Alliance will have their Thanksgiving community service on the 24th of November at 6 o'clock at the Leesville United Methodist Church. Our 2019 Christmas parade and tree lighting will be the 8th, beginning at 5:30. I've already been getting applications in for the parade, and they are available on our website, our Facebook page, and also available at the chamber. Arts on the Ridge will present an evening of holiday spirit on Friday, December 13th at Southern Occasions. We have a meeting Thursday, and I'll get the specifics out at that time on our website and then our Facebook page. That's my report, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mike.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Judy, moving on to item 7. Do we have anything from the public? Thank you. There are no unfinished business tonight, so moving on to new business. Skipping down to the resolution for Veterans Day 2019. Do we have any veterans? If you'd like to stand, that would be fantastic while I read this resolution. Mr. Gambrell? Yeah, please stand. The Town of Batesburg-Leesville Resolution Veterans Day 2019. Whereas for more than 2 centuries, individuals from all walks of life have taken up arms and sworn an oath to support and defend the principles upon which our country was founded. And whereas throughout our history, courageous men and women have donned the uniform of our armed forces and built a noble tradition of faithful and dedicated service to our nation. And whereas Veterans Day has been set aside as both a national and state holiday to honor those American patriots who answered the call of duty, preserving our freedoms and often making the ultimate sacrifice. And whereas we can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to those heroic men and women who served, were wounded, or even died in battle. And whereas the unwavering commitment of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, and merchant mariners have preserved our freedom and saved millions around the world from tyranny. And whereas it is fitting that all citizens of Batesburg-Leesville honor America's military veterans, whose selfless service and sacrifice we enjoy freedom and liberty. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Town Council of Batesburg-Leesville do hereby recognize today, November 11th, 2019, as Veterans Day, and call upon all citizens of Batesburg-Leesville to honor the contributions of current and former members of the United States Armed Forces. Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gambrell, a second. Mr. Simpkins, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? It has been adopted. Thank you again. Another round of applause, please, for our veterans. Moving on to item E, first reading ordinance rezoning property located northwest of West Columbia Avenue, northeast of North Bethlehem Road, and southwest of Russell, from I-1 Industrial District to R2 General Residential, Lexington County Tax Map 007-000-06-005. Ms. Pat, let's see, you want to present this?
Yes.
Staff will present
Ask
this.
our zoning administrator,
Yep.
Patricia, to come and present to you guys.
Mayor and council, how are you all?
Yeah.
We had the rezoning request to come forth from Major Scott. He's the personal representative for the state of Belinda Scott. The mayor just described the parcel. Are you all familiar with the parcels?
It was in our packet, ma'am. Thank you.
So you all are familiar with the location of the
Hold on a
parcel?
second, Mayor, I really prefer that,
Before she presents, we would rather have a motion. Is that what you were asking for, Ms. Kane?
no.
Oh,
What
sorry.
I'm saying is that when we have issues like this that come before council, I'd like to have this discussion in a work session, so this is not the first time that we hearing about it. And, you know, of course it was in the packet, but we need to be able to.
That's fair enough.
Council meeting.
That's fair enough. I've asked Ms. Patno to present this from the staff
That's right.
standpoint. Thank you.
Currently, the parcel is split zone. A small portion of the parcel is R2, but the majority is I1. Section 4-3.5 of the Town of Batesburg-Leesville zoning ordinance states where a district boundary line as appearing on the zoning map divides a lot in single ownership at the time of enactment. The district requirement for the least restricted portion of such lot shall be deemed to apply to the whole thereof, provided that such extension shall not include any part of such a lot more than 100 feet beyond the district boundary line. The I1 portion does extend more than 100 feet beyond the R2 district boundary line. Therefore, the request is being made for the parcel to be rezoned from I1 to R2. The situation that we have is, in town, there are certain parcels. And whenever town manager Luckadoo first came in, he said, you know, this is something we need to get resolved because certain parcels are split zone. The lines are not cut according to the boundary line. They're just cut similar to you all's district lines where you'll have one street that's on one side of the district and the other side of the street that's on the other. There's some parcels that are split zone. This particular parcel is split zone. But what Mr. Scott wanted to do is to have the entire parcel consist of one zoning so that if the parcel were to be sold, the new owners would know exactly what they could do with the parcel. This particular parcel, a small portion, and I think you all have a map in here that shows, y'all, this map, right, exactly, that map. This map shows that this small portion is R2, but the majority is industrial. But what he's thinking that the potential buyer may want to do is to do a minor subdivision and to place residences there, because you have, number one, you have Russell Street and you have Bethlehem. So there's already streets completely surrounding the parcel, and the parcel really, how large is the parcel? 8 acres? 8 acres. But what he would basically do, or what someone could do in the future, would be to, similar to the subdivision that's over on North Carolina Avenue, along where the Leisure Center is, where Timmerman had that square parcel and they built homes facing North Carolina Avenue and some homes facing Timmerman Street, but the rear of the parcels are butted together. Are you all familiar with that? It'd be something similar.
That's why I said that when we presented with information like this at a council meeting, before we've had the chance to talk about it in a work session, it puts us in a real bad position because we sit up and we don't know what in the world is going on, but we're gonna vote on it.
But with all due respect, Councilman Kane, this is the normal process that's been taking place for.
I know, but
ever.
I have no idea
And then
what
you all,
you're talking about.
the public hearing isn't being held tonight. The
Yeah.
public hearing will be held at your next council meeting.
Yeah, just for the public, this is a first reading of an ordinance. It takes 2 readings to go through. So you have to pass it first, pass it second, and have a public reading. So there'll be ample time for more discussion and input from the public.
I have a question for you, Pat. So it's split property. You allowed to combine split property?
No, what it is you have one parcel. The parcel isn't split, the zoning is split. And as I stated, there's quite a few, and it's no fault upon anybody with the town. Central Midlands assisted the town in placing the zoning districts on the zoning map. So those districts were put there according to the guidance of Central Midlands, not anyone with the town.
So when Central Midlands did this, they made the split.
They basically drew lines instead of drawing lines according to parcels, because all parcels, if you look at the map here.
It's the bulk of it though, Pat. Is the bulk of it industrial or the bulk of it residential?
The bulk of it is industrial.
Right, we're switching it to residential.
Just to give some.
And it's R2, not R1, right?
It's R2. So you already have some R2 that's already there.
Right.
So the only thing you're doing is extending
Right.
the rezoning of the current zone that's already there, R2, and that's industrial. You're going to extend the R2 to that industrial portion. Now, from
What makes everything R2 then, right? So you're going from
it just makes
industrial.
that one parcel. It makes that one parcel R2. And the reason that the planning commission felt strongly about approving this request is, this is an area. It is 8 acres, and 8 acres can appear to be a lot of property, but if you put a factory on 8 acres, and then you have to look at the coverage of the building, the coverage of the parking, the coverage of the area that you would need for deliveries, that 8 acres, if you look at that parcel and you ride by, it really, eyeballing it, it doesn't look like a really large parcel. So the planning commission, their thinking was, okay, this is here, it's coming straight into the entrance of town. Instead of having an industry there, they would think that, now, no industry has ever come forward. This parcel has been sitting vacant, well, forever, because it's still vacant. No industry has ever come forth and voiced any desire to place an industry there. And the train of thinking is, with the industrial park currently in place, if an industry were to come into town, because the town doesn't have a lot of areas that's within that are zoned industrial, but for, now, where Burlington was, you could sort of foresee an industry maybe going there, but I think a lot of individuals even have a desire, if an industry wanted to go there, they would also try to encourage them, maybe you should go into the industrial park. I think more retail, or housing or something.
So is that what they plan to do with it, housing?
Is housing, exactly. It would basically be like a minor subdivision. All of the streets and the infrastructure and everything is already in place because you have the streets. It would be a minor subdivision, where they would have to go before Lexington County with stormwater. But honestly, if an industry were to come in and voice a desire, some of you, in which I think a lot of individuals in town would probably talk to that industry and say, well, hey, we have this nice industrial park here. Instead of having that high traffic impact and everything right here, they would sort of be encouraged to go into the industrial park. So to have the potential of the property, instead of it sitting vacant, the way that it's been, and it may have sat vacant because it was industrial. But the small portion is R2. And to have housing there, we felt that that would be compatible.
But now, do they have financing for that, for the housing? Is it, how far along is that?
Well, we're not sure exactly what will take place, but I know I included a map where you all could see that at one point there was a house. The 370 on the application, Mr. Scott actually listed an address of 678 Russell. So at one point, there was a house on a portion of that industrial parcel. I mean, of the industrial portion. But of course, whenever it was put in place, the home was grandfathered in. The home has been demoed, but the home was there. So,
is it possible to make it both commercial and residential so that people have an option? So if you had somebody that didn't want to do a full-blown commercial, industrial business there, but they wanted to have some commercial business there.
that would be C2.
Right, so
The
what?
zoning could be changed to C2.
To C2, and then you can have housing or.
And exactly.
Right, well, that's what I would like to see, because I don't think that, without financing being in place, I mean, you know, you really limit any commercial opportunity. Once you zone it for residential, it's residential.
Right.
And you eliminate any possibility for commercial to come in. I don't know if I wanted to have it necessarily be remain industrial, but this definitely have an opportunity for a business or businesses or mixed use, residential and commercial. I think gives us the best option.
And that's a good.
Well, and that's why we should have work sessions on things like this.
Was that in
bring them in council meetings?
Was that in consideration by the Planning and Zoning Board, the C2?
Basically, we look at what the individuals request, but that's something that can take place. I can speak with the individual. Of course, you all could table this today and then come back next month and have first reading on the property. But then, instead of the extension of, well, the entire parcel would have been R2, so the entire parcel could be rezoned from R2 and industrial to C2. Which I'm sure he wouldn't have a problem with that.
I have a question relative to that.
Okay.
And I may be wrong, but it's my understanding with our current zoning ordinance that the, a zoning request, a change request, can only take place, or can only be made or approved if the adjoining property is that same zone. So if we're looking for C2 here, it would have to have a C2 adjoining property.
It would be spot zoning.
No.
Right, and I agree with Mr. Kane in the regard of the commercial and residential use, but I couldn't, given the current environment, I couldn't vote for that.
That would be if the parcel was less than 2 acres.
Okay.
If it was less than 2 acres, then that would be, but this is 8 acres,
Okay.
so with 8 acres, the request could be.
Okay, I got you, thank you.
Right. Because less than 2 acres would be spot zoning.
So,
Mr. Mayor, I move that we table this issue until we can get back to the individuals and to the planning commission and come back with a C2 recommendation.
Okay, I have a motion to table by Mr. Kane. Hold on 1 second.
And I second.
And a second by Ms. Mitchell. Now discussion.
The current owners assuming that the new owners will want to put residential properties
Well,
on
the
the
current
site?
owner just felt that they would apply for the request. As I said, the parcel that sat there forever as industrial, no potential buyers. They just felt, and I guess they just didn't think, because zoning is a challenge and something, if you aren't familiar with it, you just seem to think, okay, there's other houses within that area, so houses would be more compatible. But with C2, there is that option of commercial and resident.
Yes.
In which it may be better for a future owner to have it as C2.
Right.
But the planning commission does have, we have continued ed, we have a meeting scheduled for next Monday, which is our continued ed. So this item can be brought before the planning commission as early as next Monday. And I could contact the owner and make that change.
But on the other hand, if the owner's thoughts are in error and the new owners come in and say, we want to put an industrial building here, then they would have to come back and get it zoned,
No.
rezoned again.
Once it's zoned, you can't come back no sooner than a year. But the planning commission's train of thinking is just with the industrial park being in place and trying to draw industries to that area, that if anyone were to come to town in any of the industrial areas, it's a good possibility that they're gonna sort of be encouraged to first look at the industrial park and try to get that area at least more accommodated.
Right, but that's
than-
speculative.
Yeah, that's, well, speculation.
Right.
But considering the town and the county put this much into the industrial park, we would hope that industries would take advantage.
So, one other question. So my concern is, why are we asked tonight to vote on first reading when the owners really are speculating what the new owners will need the property for? Why not wait until they get some interest in the property, or at least we have a public hearing?
Well, I'm sure they have had some interest, and that's the reason that they came forward. Because, I don't know if you all know Miss Belinda, but she had a lot of property and they sold quite a bit, but this particular, I'm sure that there has been some interest shown. And that's why, instead of selling it and then the new owner having to come in, he's just going ahead, making the request, and then therefore the new owners were purchasing. And he just felt that that was more compatible.
I see.
But I'm sure that there has been some interest, and that's why he came forward.
But you will discuss this with them when you meet with them.
I definitely will.
Was
And
any
they
interest-
will be at, they have planned to be at the public hearing.
Was any interest expressed to the committee?
Any interest,
And what the new owners were thinking about
what they say is subdivision.
subdivision?
Right.
All right, I have a motion to table and a second, and we're in discussion. Is there any more discussion? So this motion is to table the first reading of the ordinance of rezoning property located northwest of West Columbia Avenue, northeast of North Bethlehem Road, and southwest of Russell, from I-1 Industrial District to R2 General Residential. TMS is 007000-06-005. This is a motion to table. District 1,
District 1 votes yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
District 3 votes yes.
4,
District 4 votes yes.
5,
District 5 votes yes.
6, 7. Apologies. Thank you.
Pat, thank you so much. We really do appreciate all the hard work that you
Yes.
did.
Thank you, thank you.
It has been tabled. Moving on to item F, acceptance of the results from the November 5th, 2019 election. Mr. Sprague.
Mayor, Council, the Lexington County Board of Canvassers has sent a statement of return to voters for the town of Batesburg-Leesville election that took place earlier this month. It looked like it's properly attested to by all the canvassers, and the results are as follows. Olin E. Gambrell II was elected to re-elected to council seat 2. Ms. Johnny Mae Speaks Lemon is elected to seat 4. There'll be a runoff next Tuesday, not tomorrow, but next Tuesday in council 6. And Mr. Bob D. Hall is elected to council seat number 8.
Motion to accept the results.
Motion to accept by Mr. Simpkins. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Etheridge. Any discussion? See this? District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
3,
District 3 votes yes.
4,
District 4 votes yes.
5,
District 5 votes yes.
7,
Yes.
And the mayor votes yes. Thank you for those results. They've been accepted by the council. Moving on to item G, recognition of outgoing council members. Mr. Luckadoo?
I believe Ms. Whittle is not here tonight, and because there's still a runoff, that would not occur tonight. So I think the only recognition that we have this evening is for Council District 4, Mr. Simpkins.
Town of Batesburg-Leesville presents this plaque, Councilman Charles Simpkins. This is in recognition of your dedicated service to the citizens of Batesburg-Leesville, having served this town council, District 4, since November of 1999. 20 years. Thank you for your service, my friend. Thank you. Sir. Moving on to item H, yes, swearing in of our council members from the November 5th, 2019 election. I'll turn this over to our attorney, Mr. Chris Bradley.
Raise your right hand. There you go. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
That I am duly qualified.
I am duly qualified.
According to the Constitution of this state.
According to the Constitution of this state.
To exercise the duties of the office.
To exercise the duty of the office.
To which I have been elected.
To which I have been elected.
And that I will.
And that I will.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
Discharge the duties thereof.
Discharge the duties thereof.
And preserve.
And preserve.
Protect.
And protect.
And defend.
And defend.
The Constitution of this state.
The Constitution of this state.
And of the United States.
And of the United States.
As council member.
As council member.
Of the town of Batesburg-Leesville.
Of the town of Batesburg-Leesville.
I will equally.
I will equally.
Fairly.
Fairly.
And impartially.
And impartially.
To the best of my ability and skill.
To the best of my ability and skill.
Exercise the trust.
Exercise the trust.
Reposed in me.
Reposed in me.
And I will use my best endeavors.
And I will use my best endeavor.
To preserve the peace.
To preserve the peace.
And carry into effect.
And carry into effect.
According to law.
According to law.
The purpose for which I have been elected.
For the purpose for which I have been elected.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Now I'm going to read something before we do the next thing. Because Mr. Gambrell has heard me read this before. What's happening tonight is not just saying some words. These things need to be taken to heart by the people that are taking these oaths. I put together this, I didn't write this, I grabbed this from different people that wrote things, and I'm not smart enough to do this, so I grabbed stuff from other people, so this is all plagiarized. In 2002, Lieutenant Colonel Kenneth Caskell of the United States Air Force wrote a book called The Oath of Office, a historical guide to moral leadership. He wrote that an oath is a solemn appeal to God to witness the truth of a statement or the sincerity of a promise, coupled with an appreciation of divine judgment in the event of falsehood or breach of obligation. It's pretty heavy. The sincere and unyielding sanctity of the oath must be regularly reiterated. It needs to be acknowledged every time before it is administered, so those about to take it understand the implications of failing to honor its significance. In both Merriam-Webster and Caskell's research, the oath is considered a solemn appeal to God, an entity revered by man as the supreme being, the ultimate force that we must all answer to. That sets the framework for the level of reverence, honor, and respect and trust an oath is given. It puts the oath at the highest level of expectation and responsibility. The oath is not just a few words toward an indoctrinational ritual. It is not a procedural checkbox. The words in an oath are not to be taken lightly. They are a commitment to service to others. They are a commitment to integrity, honor, and trust. So when you step up to the podium, raise your right hand in front of your family, friends, and the community that puts its trust in you. Know that your words you swear are a solemn commitment to those you are about to stand before. Don't let them down. Ms. Lemon, you're next. Stand right there. Raise your right hand. Ready? I do solemnly affirm
I do solemnly affirm
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties
to exercise the duties
of the office
of the office
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been elected,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the dirty duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve, protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution of this state
the Constitution of this state
and of the United
and
States.
of the United States.
As council member
As council member
of the town of Batesburg-Leesville,
of the town of Batesburg-Leesville,
I will equally,
I will equally,
fairly,
fairly,
and impartially,
and impartially,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and skill,
and skill,
exercise the trust reposed in me,
exercise the trust imposed in me,
and I will use
and I will use
my best endeavors
my best endeavors
to preserve the peace
to preserve the peace
and carry into effect,
and carry into effect,
according to law,
according to law,
the purpose
the purpose
for which I have been
for
elected.
which I have been elected.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations. It makes it look better. Have you solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties
to exercise the duties
of the office
of the office
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been elected,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve,
protect,
and
defend
the Constitution of this state
the Constitution of this state
and of the United States.
and of the United States.
As council member
As council member
of
of
the town of
the
Batesburg-Leesville,
town of Batesburg-Leesville,
I will equally,
I will equally,
fairly,
fairly,
and impartially,
and impartially,
to the best of my ability and skill,
to the best of my ability and skill,
exercise the trust reposed in me,
exercise the trust reposed in me,
and that I will use
and that I will use
my best endeavors
my best endeavors
to preserve the peace
to preserve the peace
and carry into effect,
and carry into effect,
according to law,
according to law,
the purpose
the purpose
for which I have been elected.
for which I have been elected.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Moving on to item 10, the manager's report. Mr. Luckett, if you would, please.
Okay, good evening, y'all. Good evening. All right, to begin with, just wanted to remind the citizens of the town, remind council, we are entering the holiday season with Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's right around the corner. Just wanted to remind everybody, tell you what, I'll give it 1 second. We'll let anybody that wants to leave get out real quick. With each person that leaves, I feel like it gets about 1 degree cooler. And I know Jay cut the air on as well, so I appreciate that. It's getting hot earlier. Okay, back to upcoming town holidays. So obviously today was a town holiday. For Veterans Day, for Thanksgiving, Town Hall will be closed Thursday, November 28th and Friday, November 29th. And for Christmas, the town will be closed Tuesday, December 24th through the 26th on Thursday, and then close down again for New Year's Day. So that will be our holiday closings for this year. Moving on to piggyback off of what Councilman Gambrell mentioned earlier was the Census Complete Count Committee. We are at this point officially calling for any volunteers that would like to assist with the Batesburg-Leesville Complete Count Committee to assist with the Census 2020 and making sure that we get all of those responses back. In a perfect world, we would get 100% of response from everyone in town. I doubt that that will happen, but we certainly want to get as many responses as we can get as a town. So the committee is key to creating awareness in communities. They are also people that can utilize their local knowledge, influence, and resources to educate the community and promote census throughout the town in targeted outreach efforts. This could be individuals, this could be business owners, this could be community-based organizations or faith-based groups that would like to take part. I am also going to request to council to assist us in finding those citizen advocates that you know within your districts, the people that know your district, know the people within your district, that have the time, that have the capabilities and the resources to assist our Complete Count Committee, specifically within your district that you have. If you know of people that can assist and fit those guidelines, please let myself or Jay know who those people are, and we will reach out to them about volunteering on this committee. Next thing that I have is Midlands Tech. I'm gonna grab this real quick just so I can hold it up. Midlands Tech currently has a survey that they're requesting the community do. And this is not just people that are necessarily looking for a college degree at this point. This could be for technical skills training that you may need for job-specific things, or you may want to take photography lessons, or you may want to learn Microsoft Excel at an advanced level, whatever that may be. They're reaching out in an attempt to see what they need to bring to our local campus here. They're reaching out and want people to respond to this and complete it about what it is that you're looking for from a skill set standpoint. Yes, sir.
Where are you gonna, where's that gonna be available?
Well, certainly got them available tonight, if someone wants to get it tonight from here. We have those available here at Town Hall, if you would like to pick some up.
Can I take one over to Friendship?
Certainly.
A
We've
couple
got
of
you.
them over there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, take as many as you want.
Lois, will y'all take some for Olive Branch also?
If you're interested in getting some tonight to take back to your
We don't
church,
need to send them in the town hall.
I don't disagree, and I have a
Okay.
stack that's about this big, so if you
them
want
out
to
to
take
people.
50 or 100 to your church, we will get them to you tonight. So, yeah.
Is there an option to fill the survey out online? Is there an online option for that, or is it paper copy only?
At this point, they did not express that there was an online method for this. They gave us these paper copies and asked that we pass these out to those people that would like to fill them out. If you do take it as a church, or if you have a civic group organization you want to take and have completed, if you want to gather those back up or ask that they bring it back by town hall, we are collecting the responses for Midlands Tech, and we'll give those responses to them.
Deacon Levy, can you grab a few for Friendship, please?
No problem, Councilman.
Thank you.
So, if you're interested, please see me afterwards, and Kay, if you would like, my desk has a big old pile. Go ahead and grab those. I appreciate it, sir. All right, next item is Lexington County. One thing that's become a hit every year around here is the Lexington County electronic recycling event that we do. Lexington County has said that we've become one of the largest recycling events that they have on an annual basis. We have secured the electronic recycling event again for 2020. Unfortunately, it's August 29th, so we still have just under a year at this point. But I did want to let the community know that it will be coming back.
Save the day.
Save the date. We don't have any refrigerator magnets or anything for that. We will try to put something on our website that can maybe serve as a constant reminder, or Facebook periodically remind people. But August 29th, 2020, we will have it. Again, if you have a bunch of stuff and it cannot wait till August 29th, I encourage you to visit Lexington County Solid Waste website. They do have multiple events that occur throughout the year. Sometimes they're in Gilbert, sometimes they're in Lexington. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna let you finish.
No, just, you can check their website if it can't wait until August 29th of this next year.
How are we doing on tires?
We have a lot of tires, and we continue to get more tires and more tires. But that's why we moved to 2 dumpsters at that event, because we practically filled one up with a year's collection worth of tires.
Can we wait till August on the tires, or do we need to do something prior to? I haven't seen.
We'll have to see, that'll have to be evaluated.
We stick them in the red pickup and take them off, but are they tires, the services and tires issue still?
Oh, absolutely. We grab them as we see them alongside the road, and we've got a mountain that we create until the tire event comes up every year.
For clarification, Ted, is this still going to be at the high school for next year as far as you know?
Correct, and that was the last part that I was going to hit, is Principal Bryant, Batesburg-Leesville High School, has agreed to allow us to use that date, the high school parking lot, which served to be a wonderful space. It was large, cars were not lined up down the road, blocking traffic. We were able to get people in. Again, this will have paper shredding in addition to electronic recycling. It will have tire collection for those people that collect lots of tires and bring them to the town each year. So we will have all the same services that we've had in previous years. Next item is a quick update on the police substation at Midlands Technical College. The MOU, which was agreed to by council last month, has been fully executed by both parties at this point. Chief Oswald did meet on site with Midlands Technical College officials, and they've passed off keys to the facility and codes that are needed for our alarm system for our officers. The IT staff of Midlands Tech and our BNLPD IT staff continue to work to set up the separate and secure network for our software systems. They are still in that process at this time. Once the IT work is complete, we will be fully functional at the substation. So hopefully within the next week or two, we will be up and running and fully functional. Next item that I have is the bike and pedestrian study, something we haven't mentioned in a while. That study was completed. The final presentation was given to Central Midlands Council of Government, and it was given to them because Central Midlands was the one who performed the bike and pedestrian study on behalf of Batesburg-Leesville, Chapin, and Swansea. We have requested that the consultants from Tool Design come to the December meeting to present specifically to our town council the Batesburg-Leesville portion of that bike and pedestrian study. So they will be coming in at the December regular meeting to present the final things for that.
Did Central Midlands also send a check in December? Is that the plan?
Send a check.
Well, I mean, they did a study. Are we implementing the study?
Now, you mean a check to pay for all of that?
Yeah, we did a
Well,
study.
certainly, they can assist us with grant opportunities for trails and things like that.
How much
That's a
was it?
conversation we can have with them.
So hold on, so we did a study. Who's gonna pay for it?
COG paid for
The COG is gonna pay for it, right?
But the COG paid for the study. You talking
Yes,
about the
the
work
study.
specifically?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, you study
There are
something,
grant- there are-
you want to implement it,
grant.
so.
There are trail grant opportunities, there are grants that we will need to pursue to help assist us with getting these.
How much
You
is
talking about the study or the projects?
Man, that study is done. I'm talking about the project. When we
Oh.
seriously, are we gonna implement it, or we just studying stuff to be?
I think we'll have it presented to us on the next meeting.
How much is it?
Look at it.
All that'll be presented next month.
Okay, that means it's a lot. All right.
It's not cheap, so. All right, the last item that I have is the financial, monthly financial update. Each one of you should have a copy in front of you that has all of the end of the month account balances. Just a quick recap on the general fund, non-utility fund side. Any balance of all of those accounts is $1,212,417.51. On the utility side, we have among each of the accounts on the utility side, $2,931,110.17. And end of the month, October, hospitality tax balance was $423,972.42. So of all of our funds and all of our accounts for the town, we have about $4,567,500.10 total as a town.
Mr. Luckett, can we have an update on Christmas decoration and lights?
They're being produced. They should be delivered in the next couple of weeks.
Next couple of weeks?
Yes, sir. All right. Moving on in the financial update, general fund. Last month I mentioned that we had received the $148,000 from the state of South Carolina reimbursement towards the dispatch system that we bought. As you will see, I did a screenshot below of that line item specifically from the budget showing the E911 reimbursement. That shows for the month of October, we had $149,443.26 deposited revenue come in specific to that line item. We also received 2 reimbursement towards our SAFER grant this past month, which is the grant that we have for the fire department recruiting and retention officer, and also for the new year for the students that are taking that course at the high school. You will see that we had $32,045 brought in towards that grant this month as well. One thing that jumped up this month was the advertising expenses in the town council budget. It had a larger jump this month due to multiple public hearing notices that we had to have last month related to the H-tax amendments. Because we had such a quick turnaround on that work session, then a first reading, and then a quick second reading, we had to divide our public hearing notices up between the state newspaper and the Twin City News, due to that turnaround. So we had a little bit of added cost towards that advertising this past month. At the end of October, our expenses for the general fund are reflecting 33%, which is right on course with what it should reflect at the end of this month. So we're right on course on the expense side. On the utility revenue side, again, working with the same 33%. We are at 36% total revenue on the utility side, 3% higher at this point, but again, we're entering the non-peak sales season, so that should level out a little bit over the next 3 to 4 months before it picks back up again. Utility fund expenses are at 40% for the year, so about 7% higher than where we should be at this point. But this is due in part to expenses that we've had related to the utility relocation project for Highway 1 and the alley in Leesville, and expenses that related to the water study and other grant utility projects that we have going on. As well, as previously reported at the last council meeting, we had 2 water line breaks that we had to call in for emergency assistance because our guys just could not get to them at that point due to work demand, and it was a little over $10,000 that we had to pay for that. But again, that's just piggybacking off that report that we gave last month.
But Ted, how many?
Yes, sir.
Couple of things. One, how many old water lines do we have?
A lot.
Okay. What are you doing about it?
When they,
Well,
when they break, we fix them. And
Okay.
there are some, you know, I'll say this. One of the things that we have picked up on over the past 3 years that wasn't being done as much before, that's assisting, is we started an extensive flushing program on our water system. And that has improved the condition of our water lines from what they were previously.
Ted, how old are the water lines?
They're old.
How old? 100 years old?
There could be some that are 100 years old. There
Okay.
could be.
All right.
I mean, I can't give you an exact number.
Yeah, but the water tank. So we need to have a plan to start replacing, when you have a
Water smell has nothing to do with the condition of a line.
Well, they corroded. The line is corroded. It's 100 years old.
We can get
It's cast iron pipe,
sedimentation
right?
in lines, and that sedimentation can lead
That's
to
what
an
I'm talking
odor.
about.
If someone in the community does have a foul odor smell to
Right.
their water, if they will call us, we will go out there and flush that area lines out, and 9 times out of 10, that does take care of the issue.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I just said. You said no, it's no odor. So yeah, there's an odor. And the other thing is, at some point, instead of when you have a water main break, right? I've been there when they jump down in there and they put a cast over the hole. But you got the hole there, right? You dug a hole. Why not start to replace some of these lines? Because we're gonna have a problem in a little while. You know, a water line can be 100 years old, but it ain't gonna be 200 years old. It ain't gonna be 150 years old. You gotta replace some of these lines. So at some point, you need to have a comprehensive plan to replace these lines instead of keep digging up the street and putting a patch on these water lines. You know, that's a real problem. And it's been a problem for a while, and we need to really start thinking about that as we go into the next budget. When you have a plan where you grid it off, and you start planning, okay, we're gonna start on this side of town, and we're gonna start replacing these pipes. Because, you know, it's really not fair for folks to pay the type of water bill that we pay. Then you got corroded water lines that smell. The second thing is, we have almost $500,000 in the hospitality budget, correct?
400 and...
That's almost $500,000. 400, very close to 500, which is $500,000. That committee does not meet. It's dysfunctional.
Mr. Mayor, point of order. We're off topic, we're off the agenda.
We're off the agenda. Why are we off the agenda? We talking about the... We're the mayor's... Are we talking about the manager's report? I know y'all want to talk about the truth.
Well, we're talking.
Just let me finish what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So what?
We're on finances and
That is
so Mr. Kane, all I'm asking is that you stay on topic for the agenda and accept the finances, sir.
But do you see right here, when that says hospitality, tax?
Right.
That's
Right.
what I'm talking about. That's
So,
on the agenda. Is that on the agenda?
Yes, sir,
Okay,
the
that's what I'm
hospitality
talking about.
tax
That's what
checking,
I'm talking
the
about,
funds, sir.
That's what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
then have a seat and speak, but you went over to the
Don't interrupt me.
you went over to the committee. I didn't interrupt, I called point of order. And when someone calls point of order, I ask what the point of order is, and you didn't allow me to do that. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna let you continue speaking on the budget item for the hospitality tax.
Right, that's what I was doing.
Okay, well then please, continue on the budget item of hospitality tax.
Okay. So, at any rate, there's $500,000 in that account, correct?
400.
400, okay, almost $500,000 in the account. And when was the last time the committee met?
Month ago.
Are you sure?
It was right at a month ago.
Okay, and before that, how many did they meet?
Well, it's about a month and a half ago.
A month. All right, well, my only point is that every month, we collect that money. They don't meet. We need to really start either making that committee a functional committee, because it's taxpayer
Again,
dollars.
we're on to a committee, this is not about a committee, this is a budget item that we're speaking about. We're not talking about the hospitality tax committee, Mr. Kane. If you have a point with the budget item for the hospitality tax, I would love to entertain it.
If you would let me talk.
I am.
Okay, I'm talking about the money. The money is the budget,
Okay, so
right?
talk about the money, sir.
I just talked.
We have
Y'all gonna do what y'all wanna do. But at some point, we need to get some of that, we would need to make that committee a functioning committee so that they can spend the money. Or we need to
By
get
law, the
money.
committee cannot
Oh, my
spend the
God.
money, sir. By law, we as a council spend the money.
Then why did you wanna have a committee?
Sir, I'm not talking about the committee, sir. I'm talking about the budget item that is on front of us from the manager's report, and that's what we're talking about. I'm trying to allow you to talk about that item.
All right, so I can talk about as long as I don't mention the word committee, right? Okay, so there is $500,000 in there. It needs to be either spent properly or present, because that thing that I can't talk about, the whole idea was we created that process so that they can generate ideas and bring them back to council, and that we can start doing some things in the community. That thing that I can't talk about is dysfunctional, not meeting. So my thing to you, Ted, is either we need to get it going, or we need to give the money back to the people and stop charging people 2 cents on the dollar for prepared food if we can't get that thing that I can't talk about functioning.
And we just created a budget item, and we have an ordinance in place where we actually put these things in the ordinance. As a council, as a body of council, so we do have items in place for the hospitality tax funds. We just voted on that.
Right.
So that's actually
Does the committee work?
That's actually in place, and most of those suggestions for the public were by the committee.
Okay.
So
the committee does meet.
Okay.
Right, that's what you're saying, the committee does meet. Don't tell no lie.
Mr. Kane, we have an ordinance with this budget, we have an ordinance with items for the hospitality tax budget.
Any other questions for me? Thank you.
I understand it's unnecessary and it shouldn't happen.
Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Luckadoo. Moving on to potential items, agenda items for next month's meeting, December the 9th. Do I have a motion? If no motion for those items, Ms. Cynthia. Yes, ma'am. We have a motion to talk about council's pay at next meeting. Do I have a second? Have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hall. Any discussion? All right, District 1?
District 1, votes
Yes. 2?
Yes.
3? 4? 5? 7?
Yes.
8?
District 8 votes yes.
And the mayor votes yes, so that has been approved to be on the agenda for next month's meeting. Anything else for that? Well, moving on to adjournment, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn, sir.
Gambrell, and a second by Ms. Etheridge. Any discussion? How about this? All in favor, raise your right hand. Because I don't think anyone's gonna, do you not want to leave? It's okay, I got it, we're good. We're good. No, it's actually in our ordinance, we can do this. We can, yeah. And we are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.